There is a certain stillness in the moments when life feels like it is slipping through our fingers. You know that sensation. The world seems to tilt, the ground beneath you feels unsteady, and every plan you once trusted now seems to unravel before your eyes. It is in these moments, when everything appears to be falling apart, that the universe is quietly, invisibly, beginning a process of profound transformation. The chaos that surrounds you, the disruption you feel, is not punishment. It is an invitation. It is a signal that the life you have been clinging to, the version of yourself that no longer serves your highest potential, is giving way to something entirely new, something deeper, richer, and infinitely more aligned with your true self. Many of us, when faced with such chaos, are tempted to resist, to cling harder to control, to seek comfort in what we know, even if it is crumbling. It is natural. Our minds crave stability. Our hearts yearn for certainty. But what if the collapse you fear so intensely is not the end but the beginning? What if the turbulence, the setbacks, the failures, and the moments of despair are actually the universe's way of reshaping the foundation of your reality? What if this very unraveling is the prelude to the life you have been quietly longing for, a life that aligns not with external expectations, but with the deepest whispers of your soul? Consider the natural world. Even the mightiest trees, when facing a storm, may bend, break, or shed their leaves, yet in doing so they prepare themselves for growth that is stronger, more resilient, and more expansive. Just as the tree must release what is no longer viable, so too must we release the aspects of ourselves, the habits, beliefs, and illusions that have anchored us in stagnation. Chaos is not a sign of failure. It is an essential rhythm, a necessary pattern in the unfolding of transformation. It is the quiet whisper before the symphony, the shadow before the dawn, the winter that precedes the bloom of spring. This period of disarray can feel disorienting. You may wake each day feeling uncertain, like you are standing at the edge of a precipice. Old plans may fall apart, relationships may shift, and the familiar structures that once gave your life shape may seem to dissolve. And yet, if you look closely, even in the smallest details, there are signs of alignment. Moments of clarity, synchronicities, unexpected opportunities. These are the universe's way of reminding you that the collapse is not random. It is intentional. It is the prelude to a reality that is waiting to emerge, a reality that is waiting for you to step fully into your power, into your truth, and into the life you are meant to live. In this stillness, you are invited to observe, to reflect, and to embrace the uncertainty without fear. You are asked to trust the invisible currents of change, to understand that the disarray surrounding you is a reflection of internal transformation. Your old self, the version defined by fear, doubt, or limitation, is dissolving. It may feel uncomfortable, even painful, but this discomfort is necessary. It is the shaking loose of the old patterns, the clearing of space so that new energy, new experiences, and new manifestations can enter. Every breakdown carries within it the seeds of a breakthrough. Every moment of chaos is a crucible for transformation, forging a stronger, wiser, and more aligned self. As you sit with this truth, allow yourself to breathe deeply and release the illusion of control. Know that life, in its infinite intelligence, is orchestrating your transformation, even if you cannot see the full picture yet. Trust that the collapse is temporary, that it is a passing phase, and that what is coming is far greater than what has been lost. This is the threshold moment, the point where old reality gives way to the new, where fear begins to dissolve into trust, and where the first whispers of your manifested dreams begin to take form. In these early moments of awareness, you are learning to see chaos not as the end of the journey, but as the beginning of a magnificent, unfolding story of alignment and self-realization. Chaos is often misunderstood. It is seen as something to fear, something to resist, something to escape. And yet, when viewed through the lens of deeper wisdom, it becomes clear that chaos is not an enemy, it is an essential teacher, a guide that shows us where our attachments, illusions, and old patterns have created stagnation. The disarray that appears in your life, the unexpected setbacks, the emotional turbulence, the disruption of routines, is rarely random. It is, in fact, a reflection of an inner transformation that is quietly, invisibly taking place. Just as a caterpillar must dissolve its very form to emerge as a butterfly, so too must parts of ourselves break down in order to create the space for new growth, for new possibilities, and for a life that aligns with our deepest desires. Think for a moment about the life you have been living up to now. How much of it has been dictated by habit, comfort, or the expectations of others? How much of it has been shaped by fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of the unknown? These patterns, as familiar and comforting as they may seem, create a subtle form of imprisonment. They keep you tethered to a version of reality that no longer serves you, even as you long for something greater. Chaos arrives precisely at these moments, when the universe senses that you are ready for a shift, that your soul is prepared to step into a higher level of awareness. It dismantles the old structures, shakes the foundations, and clears the way for alignment with a reality that is truer, richer, and more expansive. From a quantum perspective, every disruption is an opportunity. The universe is composed of infinite possibilities, and every event, no matter how disruptive, represents a potential path. When things fall apart, when familiar frameworks collapse, you are being asked to let go of the rigidity of certainty and embrace the fluidity of possibility. The old reality, with its predictable outcomes and familiar frustrations, is giving way to something that aligns with your deepest intentions. This is the paradox. By letting go, by allowing the chaos to play out without resistance, you create the very conditions for manifestation. The space left by the breakdown is fertile ground, a blank canvas on which your new reality can be painted. It is also in the contrast between collapse and creation that transformation occurs. Without the friction of disarray, without the tension between fear and hope, between old patterns and new potential, the emergence of a higher self would be unnoticed, unappreciated, and unearned. The very process of breaking down is what gives rise to the profound clarity that follows. When a relationship ends, a career path shifts, or a personal dream dissolves, it is not a reflection of inadequacy or failure. It is a reflection of alignment and progress. It is the universe pruning what no longer serves, creating space for growth that is far more authentic than what was left behind. Recognizing this requires a shift in perspective, a subtle but profound reorientation of the mind. It requires seeing the moments of chaos not as obstacles but as mirrors. What is breaking down around you often mirrors what is breaking down within you. The limiting beliefs, the unexamined fears, the attachments to identities that no longer fit. When you can see the outer turmoil as a reflection of inner transformation, a sense of clarity begins to emerge. You begin to understand that the collapse is not arbitrary. It is purposeful, intelligent, and deeply aligned with your evolution. You begin to trust that the universe is guiding you, even if the guidance comes in forms that feel uncomfortable or disruptive. Stories from spiritual traditions across the world illustrate this principle in profound ways. From the hero's journey in mythology to modern accounts of sudden life shifts, the pattern is always the same. The old self must be confronted, tested, and often dismantled before the new self can emerge. Those moments of chaos are the rites of passage, the sacred storms that test resolve and awaken latent power. In these moments, you are invited to step back from the frantic need to control and instead become an observer, a witness to the transformation that is occurring at a subtle, energetic level. You are learning to dance with uncertainty, to flow with disruption, and to trust that the disarray is a prelude to harmony. This section of life, the place where things feel unstable, is where the true work begins. It is here that you practice patience, surrender, and discernment. It is here that you learn to differentiate between what is truly yours to influence and what must unfold in its own timing. It is here that you cultivate resilience, the quiet strength that allows you to remain centered while the world around you shifts. The chaos is both a teacher and a mirror, and by engaging with it consciously, you align yourself with the creative forces of the universe. You learn to move from fear to curiosity, from resistance to openness, and from doubt to trust. Every challenge becomes a lesson, every disruption becomes an opportunity, and every moment of uncertainty becomes a doorway to a higher state of being. By embracing the nature of chaos, you begin to see that life is not linear. It is a series of cycles, of endings and beginnings, of contraction and expansion, of dissolution and creation. Each collapse is a necessary part of the rhythm of transformation. By surrendering to this rhythm, by recognizing the intelligence behind the upheaval, you create the conditions for true manifestation. The chaos that once frightened you becomes a signal, a guide, and a sacred ally in the journey toward the life you are meant to lead. You begin to understand that nothing is truly lost, that everything is being rearranged, and that the collapse of the old is simply the foundation for the emergence of the new. As the storm of chaos sweeps through your life, it can be easy to feel lost, adrift, or uncertain of your own path. Yet within this turbulence lies a hidden clarity, patterns that, when observed carefully, reveal not just the presence of disruption but its purpose. Recognizing these patterns is essential, for they act as signposts, guiding you through the storm toward alignment and transformation. The outer world mirrors the inner world. When relationships shift, careers take unexpected turns, or familiar routines crumble, these are not mere coincidences. They are reflections of internal shifts, subtle movements of your consciousness inviting you to grow, expand, and evolve. By learning to identify these markers, You gain the ability to navigate chaos consciously, rather than being swept away by it. The first pattern to observe is repetition. Life has a way of presenting the same challenge in slightly different forms, until the underlying lesson is acknowledged. Perhaps you encounter recurring conflicts, financial obstacles, or emotional triggers that feel all too familiar. These repetitions are not punishments, they are opportunities. They signal that certain beliefs or habits no longer serve you and must be released. Each recurrence is a gentle nudge from the universe, asking you to pause, reflect, and consider, what within me is ready to change? By paying attention to these cycles, you begin to recognize that chaos is structured, purposeful, and deeply intelligent. It is designed not to frustrate you, but to awaken your awareness and redirect your energy toward what truly matters. Another key pattern is emotional intensity. Moments of extreme emotion, anger, fear, grief, or even inexplicable restlessness, often accompany periods of transformation. These emotions act as a form of energetic clearing, surfacing buried fears, unresolved pain, and unexpressed desires. Rather than resisting these feelings or judging them as negative, you are invited to approach them as teachers. By observing your emotional responses without attachment, you gain insight into your inner landscape. You begin to see which aspects of your identity, your beliefs, or your expectations are being challenged and why. Emotional turbulence, when approached consciously, becomes a compass, pointing you toward areas of your life that require alignment and conscious intervention. Synchronicities and signs are another subtle yet powerful pattern to recognize. During times of upheaval, small coincidences, meaningful encounters, and unexpected opportunities often appear, almost as if the universe is sending signals to guide you. These moments are not random, they are markers of alignment, gentle confirmations that despite the chaos, you are on the right path. Cultivating awareness of these synchronicities encourages mindfulness and presence. It allows you to tune into the invisible currents of guidance that flow beneath the surface of your reality. By noticing these patterns, you begin to experience a sense of connection to something larger than yourself. A conscious dance between your intentions and the universe's intelligence. Physical sensations and energetic shifts also serve as indicators. Your body often responds to change before your mind fully comprehends it. Restlessness, fatigue, tension, or inexplicable sensations may accompany periods of transformation. These are signals that your energy is reorganizing, that your vibration is shifting to accommodate new realities. By attuning to your body and its messages, you can navigate the chaos with greater awareness and gentleness. Practices such as mindful breathing, meditation, and energy work can help you interpret these signals, providing clarity and reinforcing the sense that the disruption you are experiencing is not random, but a necessary recalibration of your inner and outer worlds. Patterns often manifest in relationships as well. People who were once central to your life may drift away, while new connections may appear seemingly out of nowhere. These shifts are rarely coincidental. The universe rearranges your relational landscape to align with your evolving self. Old relationships, while familiar, may have been reinforcing limiting beliefs or patterns, and their departure creates space for connections that resonate with your higher path. Likewise, new relationships offer opportunities for growth, support, and reflection that align with the person you are becoming. Observing these relational patterns allows you to release attachment, embrace change, and trust the intelligent design behind the flux of human connection. Recognizing these patterns requires patience, self-reflection, and a willingness to observe without judgment. It requires stepping back from the immediate discomfort and chaos, cultivating the perspective of an observer rather than a participant overwhelmed by circumstance. By doing so, you begin to notice the subtle signals, the recurring themes, and the energetic nudges that guide you toward alignment. The more you practice this awareness, the more empowered you become, realizing that chaos is not an external force imposed upon you, but a co-creative process in which your consciousness actively participates. You are not merely enduring transformation, you are shaping it with intention, clarity, and presence. Ultimately, understanding these patterns instills a sense of trust. When you can identify the markers of collapse and change, fear begins to dissolve. You start to see that chaos is structured, meaningful, and aligned with your growth. You begin to anticipate opportunities for manifestation, recognize moments of guidance, and navigate disruptions with grace and confidence. The lessons embedded in repeated challenges, emotional intensity, synchronicities, physical sensations, and relational shifts reveal that the universe operates with intelligence and purpose. By aligning your awareness with these patterns, you step out of reactive confusion and into conscious co-creation, embracing the chaos not as a threat, but as a sacred guide leading you toward your highest potential. In these moments of observation and insight, the storm transforms into a teacher, the turbulence into a pathway, and the disruption into a doorway. Recognizing the patterns of collapse allows you to see the invisible thread connecting every upheaval to your emerging reality. You begin to understand that chaos is not random, that nothing is wasted, and that the universe is always guiding you toward alignment, even when the path appears unclear. With each realization, you cultivate resilience, clarity, and trust, laying the foundation for the next phase of transformation, the conscious harnessing of chaos to manifest your desired reality. Once you begin to recognize the patterns of chaos in your life, the next step is not merely observation but conscious engagement. This is where transformation shifts from being a passive experience to an active, deliberate process. Chaos, in this sense, is not something to endure, it is something to harness. It carries within it immense creative potential, a hidden energy that can be directed toward manifesting the reality you desire. The turbulence, the disruptions, the moments of fear and uncertainty, all of these are instruments of change. They are opportunities to realign your thoughts, emotions, and energy with the life that resonates with your soul. To embrace this fully is to step into a new level of consciousness where you are no longer a victim of circumstance, but a conscious creator of your reality. The first step in harnessing chaos is mindset realignment. The way you perceive disruption determines the effect it has on your life. If you view it as punishment, failure, or loss, you amplify resistance and prolong suffering. If instead you view it as guidance, as a necessary clearing for a higher purpose, you invite flow and possibility. Mindset is the lens through which chaos becomes either a source of fear or a catalyst for manifestation. Daily practices such as affirmations, reflective journaling, or intentional questioning, asking yourself what this disruption is teaching you, help recalibrate your perception. You begin to see the collapse not as an ending, but as a threshold moment, a doorway leading toward your desired reality. Visualization is a second powerful tool for working with chaotic energy. In the midst of upheaval, it can be easy to focus on what is being lost or disrupted. Yet the mind is malleable, and by deliberately imagining your preferred outcomes, you begin to shift the energetic trajectory of your life. Picture yourself not as someone struggling within chaos, but as someone navigating it with poise, clarity, and intention. Visualize the relationships, opportunities, and experiences you wish to manifest, and allow yourself to feel the emotions of already having them. This is not wishful thinking. It is a conscious alignment of your vibration with your intentions. The universe responds to the energy you emit, and through visualization, you create a magnetic field that draws your desired reality closer to fruition. Energetic practices further enhance your ability to harness chaos. Chaos often stirs stagnant energy within the body and mind, and without conscious intervention, this energy can manifest as stress, confusion, or emotional turbulence. Techniques such as meditation, breath work, or grounding exercises allow you to stabilize your energy and maintain clarity amidst disruption. Meditation, for example, creates a space of inner stillness where you can observe the shifting currents of life without being swept away by them. Breath work helps release trapped emotions and restore equilibrium. Grounding reconnects you with the stability of the present moment, providing a sense of anchor even as external circumstances fluctuate. These practices cultivate resilience, helping you respond to chaos with calm, focus, and intention rather than reaction. Releasing old patterns is another critical aspect of this process. Chaos is often the universe's way of signaling that certain beliefs, habits, or attachments are ready to be shed. Holding on to outdated narratives or limiting self-concepts only prolongs discomfort and blocks the flow of manifestation. By consciously identifying what no longer serves you, whether it is self-doubt, fear-based thinking, or unproductive routines, and letting it go, you create space for new energy and new experiences to enter. This release is not about loss, it is about alignment. It is the clearing of a path for the emergence of the empowered, authentic self, one that can fully inhabit the reality you are creating. Integration of new insights is equally essential. Chaos often brings revelations, sudden clarity, and glimpses of the life you truly desire. Yet without integration, these insights may pass unnoticed. Taking the time to reflect, internalize, and apply the lessons offered by disruption ensures that your transformation is lasting. Practices such as journaling, mindful reflection, or conscious decision-making allow you to embed new patterns into your daily life. The energy of chaos is then transformed from random disruption into a structured, purposeful force that supports your growth and manifestation. The contrast between the old chaotic self and the emerging aligned self is central to this stage. By acknowledging where you have been, trapped by fear, resisting change, or caught in repetitive cycles, you can appreciate the growth that arises through conscious engagement with chaos. Every challenge, every unexpected twist, becomes a stepping stone toward empowerment. This contrast not only provides clarity but also deepens the emotional resonance of transformation. You begin to see that the discomfort of the present moment is temporary, a necessary passage toward a reality imbued with intention, abundance, and alignment. Practical manifestation techniques further reinforce this process. As we draw to the close of this journey, it is essential to pause and reflect on what has unfolded. The chaos that has surrounded you, the moments when life seemed to unravel, were never signs of failure or inadequacy. They were, and continue to be, sacred invitations to awaken, to realign, and to step into a version of yourself that is more empowered, more authentic, and more aligned with your highest potential. What may have felt like collapse was, in truth, a preparation, a necessary clearing for something greater to take root. The turbulence, the uncertainty, and the discomfort that you have experienced are not random, they are the invisible threads of transformation, weaving together a new reality that is waiting for you to step fully into it. When life feels chaotic, it is natural to seek control, to grasp at stability, and to resist the unknown. Yet the essence of this journey lies in surrender, not surrender to defeat, but surrender to the intelligence of the universe and the rhythm of transformation. By releasing the illusion of control, you open yourself to the deeper currents that are guiding you. Each breakdown, each disruption, each unexpected challenge is not an endpoint but a threshold. It is a doorway, a moment where the old self dissolves and the new, more aligned self begins to emerge. The universe, in its infinite intelligence, orchestrates these moments not to punish, but to realign, to make space for your highest potential to manifest in your life. This process of emergence requires patience, self-compassion, and trust. It requires the courage to observe without judgment, to feel without resistance, and to embrace the discomfort as a teacher rather than an adversary. Patterns you have noticed, the repetition of challenges, the intensity of emotions, the shifting of relationships, and the synchronicities that appear when you least expect them, are all signals that transformation is underway. Each one carries guidance, clarity, and opportunity, if only you are willing to see it. The chaos around you mirrors the shifts within, revealing the beliefs, habits, and attachments that are ready to be released. By engaging with these signals consciously, you transform fear into insight, uncertainty into awareness, and disruption into a deliberate path toward manifestation. In the midst of this process, it becomes clear that nothing is truly lost. Every ending, every detour, every unexpected disruption is part of a larger design that is working in your favor. The collapse of the old self is the clearing of space for your emerging self. A self that is more resilient, more empowered, and more aligned with your deepest desires. You begin to recognize that the turbulence was never meaningless. It was preparation, calibration, and the prelude to the alignment you are now stepping into. The challenges you have faced, once sources of frustration or fear, are revealed as teachers, offering wisdom, perspective, and the opportunity to rise above old limitations. As you move forward, allow this understanding to settle deeply within you. Chaos is not an enemy, it is a sacred guide, a co-creative force, and a companion in the unfolding of your reality. The energy of disruption can be harnessed, directed, and transformed. By observing, releasing, integrating, and consciously aligning with these moments, you step into a space where manifestation becomes natural and inevitable. You learn to move with the rhythm of life, to trust the invisible currents, and to recognize that even in the midst of uncertainty, you are never truly adrift. The universe is orchestrating every detail, often unseen, in perfect alignment with your growth, your desires, and your highest potential. Ultimately, transformation is not a single moment, but a continuous process. It is the gradual awakening to your own power, the realization that the life you desire is not separate from you, and that the turbulence, setbacks, and upheavals are all part of a sacred, intelligent design. The chaos that once felt overwhelming now becomes a friend, a teacher, and a tool for creation. The breakdown of the old self, the dissolution of limiting beliefs, and the disruption of familiar structures all serve one purpose: to make way for the emergence of a new reality, one that resonates deeply with your soul. As you step forward with awareness, intention, and trust, you carry within you the quiet knowing that every challenge is temporary, every fear is a signal, and every moment of chaos is a necessary prelude to the manifestation of your highest self. Walk forward with confidence, embracing the invisible orchestration of the universe, and trust that everything falling apart is simply the preparation for everything to come together. The alignment, clarity, and manifestation you seek are not distant dreams. They are waiting for you now, ready to unfold as you move with awareness, presence, and faith. In this truth, you find freedom, empowerment, and the realization that you are the conscious architect of your own reality, and that the life you have imagined, the self you have longed to become, is now within reach, fully supported by the sacred rhythm of transformation that surrounds you.